The Supreme Court expected to issue rulings on a number of cases on Tuesday and Thursday of this week.
That's right. There are 18 cases left on the court's docket. This includes decisions on hot-button issues like abortion rights, the Second Amendment, and religious liberty. Joining us now is CBSNews.com political reporter Melissa Quinn. Welcome, Melissa. Great to see you. So, Americans all across this country are holding their breath for this decision on abortion rights after an opinion leak last month. As you know, some are looking to Chief Justice John Roberts to see whose side he will take. So what can we expect in terms of the majority opinion, the dissent, and possibly concurring opinions?
Well, thank you so much for having me today. So let's start with the majority opinion. It seems highly likely that the court is going to, at a minimum, uphold this Mississippi law that bans abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Just like you said, we are all eagerly awaiting to see whether this draft majority opinion from Justice Samuel Alito that was circulated back in February that overturned Roe v. Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey does indeed become the final decision of the court, or whether Chief Justice John Roberts was potentially able to sway one of his fellow conservatives to join him in taking a more incremental approach that perhaps upholds Mississippi's abortion law, but maintains that constitutional right to an abortion that was established under Roe and Casey. Now, in terms of the dissents, I'm fairly certain you're going to see the three liberal members of the court stick together in dissenting. It's very possible that each of the three pen their own dissenting opinions, but I think you can really expect to see Justice Sonia Sotomayor certainly write a dissenting opinion that is very critical of the majority. We saw that happen earlier this term, if you remember, when the court issued a decision in the Texas dispute over that law that banned most abortions at around 6 weeks of pregnancy. She really did not hold back in criticizing the conservative majority. So I think you can expect to see that from her again.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Melissa, there's also a lot of talk about gun legislation today. And one piece of legislation that had already passed and been implemented in New York State was a requirement that people who want to carry a gun in public demonstrate that they have a particular need to do so. And from the likes of it, it looks like the Supreme Court is going to overrule that decision here in New York, which could have broad implications. What are they, and what does this look like it's going to shape up to be?
Yeah, so it seemed pretty clear that after oral arguments way back in November that a majority of the court, the conservative majority, seemed really inclined to striking down this New York licensing regime. I think what we are going to be looking at an opinion to see is just how broadly the court reads the Second Amendment. Do they say that the Second Amendment protects the right to carry a concealed handgun outside the home, which would be a pretty far-reaching decision that widens the scope of the Second Amendment and puts in jeopardy, scores of concealed carry regulations? Or do they take a more narrow approach and strike down New York's licensing regime, which could have a domino effect and affect similar laws in about 6 other states, but allow some regulations for concealed carry of handguns? During oral argument, there was discussion by Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett about whether there could be restrictions in so-called sensitive spaces. So they raised an example of Times Square on New Year's Eve, or a college football game, or even in a bar. So I think the main thing we're looking at for this decision is just how far the Supreme Court's conservative majority goes.
And Melissa, we also mentioned the expected religious liberty decision. Are there other major decisions we should be keeping an eye out for right now? It seems like there is a lot coming out of the Supreme Court these days.
Yes. So there are 2 in particular that I am watching very closely for decisions on. The first is the case involving Coach Joseph Kennedy. He was a former high school football coach from Washington State who said that he lost his job after he led prayers on the 50-yard line after football games. He said that he was simply expressing his constitutional right to religious expression. The second case that I'm watching for a decision on is involving a tuition assistance program from the state of Maine that is used for students in rural areas. The tuition assistance program excludes schools that teach religious instruction or teach through a religious lens, and 2 sets of parents sued the state, arguing that this exclusion was unconstitutional. If you remember, we've seen from the Supreme Court, particularly after this rightward shift, the court has issued a line of decisions that have really been more sympathetic to religious parties. And after oral arguments in both of these cases, it certainly seemed like the court is going to continue along that track.
All right, very interesting. We said the Lord's Prayer before every baseball game at my public high school.
You did?
In Maryland.
And no one complained?
No one thought to challenge it, but now I'm seeing it through a different prism here.
Yeah.
Melissa Quinn, thank you very much. We're looking forward to those rulings and the ramifications, which will be significant, as you point out.
Thank you.